All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Jolly GM 2D20 Conan how-to video. I figured just for a laugh, I'll just go over some of the basics on how the system works and some of the basic, how-to things, I guess you can say. So what I'm doing is I created a character. First of all, I'm using Tabletop Simulator because I'm trying to get used to using this. And I created just a very roundabout basic character to see how, just so I can use. And it comes with some of the basic combat stats, combat heavy, just easy for understanding the rules. All right, so what I am doing is, first of all, I'm going to bring out some so I'm just going to bring up some of the basic, some maps here and some encounters, and we'll just go through let's see, go through some of the basic stuff. So the first thing I am going to do is we're going to go through the rules on bandits. All right, bandit is a minion, which means, let me bring up a map too, I guess, shall we? Let's see, tiles. Bring up the first tile we got. There we go. Lock that down. And I'm going to bring up a random character token. So that's not random, is it? Let's see who's going to be my character. This guy here. He's going to be my character. Now I'm going to turn the lights up a bit here to make it a little bit brighter. A little bit easier to see. I'm going to bring out my character sheet, and I'm going to bring out the Of course, everything's going to go kind of funky here, isn't it? So we're going to bring up the minions, and we're going to go over to Bandit. Now, minions are extremely weak on their own. They're not even worth the... they are not even worth the effort, really, but on their own. They're no challenge at all to any of the players. So let me get out of here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, easier to see. And this here is going to be my bandit. There we go. That's my bandit. So a bandit rolls one dice. So the way this works here, I will add up to make a roll, a skill roll. You take your skill, you roll a d20, and you're trying to get that number or less. So for minions, they only ever roll one d20. So for example, if this bandit wanted to attack and make a combat swing, you use your agility score, which is 9, and he has a combat modifier of 1. All right. So which means that gives me a little bit of math, not that complicated for sure, but what that tells me, it's I need to roll a 10 or under because you add your combat modifier, and it gives me a focus of 1. So any roll of 1 counts as 2 successes. So in this game, the way it works is the players always get to go first, regardless, and unless the GM wants to spend some doom. So I am going to get some doom here. First of all, I had 3 fortune points, which means I get 3 doom. Characters start off. And I am going to just say for shits and giggles that the bandit is going to go first. Now I'm going to move in a little bit closer. And let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. Alright, so I'm going to spend 1 of these doom. Turn this trash on here. Alright. So I'm going to spend 1 doom to go first. And this character can take a minor action, standard action, and a number of free actions. But he is going to take a minor action to move a zone. Now, to move any one zone from one square to the next is one action, is a minor action. If I wanted to move more than that, then that would be a standard action, but that's not what I'm doing. So I'm going to take a minor action to move into the zone and to get into reach of my character. Now he's going to attack. So to attack, he only gets to ever roll 1d20. So my character is not going to parry. He's going to just hope that he misses. So this character here, the bandit, is now going to attack. And I'm looking for 10s and 1s. And I rolled a 20, which means a complication. So usually as a GM, I can take doom away from the pool, which is down here, or I can cause something to happen. So I'm just going to, for now, just for the sake of this tutorial, ignore that and say that I missed. All right. So the bandit is done. A single bandit, 1 minion, not very much of a challenge. So now my character is going to attack. Now his melee is 16 and he has a focus of 4. Alright, so top right hand corner you can see it. I have a target number 16 and the focus of 4. So he is going to attack. He's not going to use any particular extra focus or momentum or anything like that. So he is looking for 16s and 4s. I'm just going to roll 2 dice because that's what they always roll. And I got 1, that's a 4, and a 5. So that's really 3 successes. He can't parry. All right. So it's a difficulty 1, which tells me that I've gotten 2 momentum to spend. So he is now going to roll dice. Now he has a, let's see, he's using his broadsword, so he has 5 dice of damage. Alright, so roll up to 5. And that's a really poor roll. I only got 1 point of damage. But now I have some abilities here. So, let's see. Oh. So because of my ability, I don't have anything that can really re-roll that damage unless I spend the momentum. So I'm going to spend 1 of those momentum to re-roll those 4 dice that never did anything. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a little bit better. Alright, so I end up having 4 or 5 points of damage. So this character here, he has armor soak of 2. He has 5 vigor. Alright, so I'm going to spend my last point of momentum to give myself piercing 2, which ignores his armor, and is going to do 5 points of vigor damage, which would actually kill him. Done. So as you can see, one simple strike using 2 dice, that guy didn't really last all that long. But that's a minion by itself. A minion by itself can't defend on its own. It can't do anything. It's automatically going to get hit if the guy makes at least 1 success. And minions are weak. They only usually no more than 5 vigor or 5 resolve at the time. But what happens if they're a mob? Alright. So let's start off from scratch here. So in this example, my minions are now grouped together as a mob, and they're all going to move as 1. So they all move over, and they're going to engage here. Because they roll as a group, they actually all assist. So they're going to roll 5 dice. Now before I roll, the player character needs to determine if he's going to try and parry. And he is going to say yes, he is, because he has a parried weapon. Is not going to cost him anything. All right, he gets to reduce 1 from the cost. So because there's 5 of them, they actually roll 5 dice, and I'm looking for 10s and 1s on this one. Because they each roll 1 dice and they combine it all together. So I got 1, 2, 3 successes. All right, 3 successes. So my character, uh, he is going to say, you know, something. He's going to roll 2 dice. He's going to spend the doom. I'm trying to figure out why this thing doesn't. I don't know why it doesn't delete, but that's fine. Delete that. He's going to spend 1 doom uh, to roll an extra dice. So his parry ability, his parry is under coordination is 13 and 3. So 3 dice, 13 and 3. And it looks like I got 3 successes. Because I got a 1 and 11. 1's less than 3, so that works out to be an extra success. So I got 3 successes. So the way it looks now, it's a tie. I had 3 successes and my mob of minions had 3 successes. But here's the thing. I just realized I'm doing something wrong. I'm thinking from the GM point of view. When he went into roll extra dice, he gets to add a doom. Anyway, so because there is a tie, the GM can break the tie by spending a doom, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to take the doom and he's going to spend it. And now he's going to roll dice. Now their attack is, let's see, 5. So 5 dice. So it looks like I have oh, I can't roll. I shouldn't have rolled a 20. But it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of damage against his torso. So I can do the same things that the characters can do. I can spend momentum, if I had any, to make stuff happen. But I don't, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going to roll. I got 5 dice of damage, or sorry, 5 points of damage goes through. Huh. Looks like something kind of crashed up on me here. All right. Seems like we're back in here. Something kind of crashed in the background. I'm not sure why. But anyway, so he rolls 5 points of damage. This guy has on his torso 2 points of armor or soak, so he takes only 3 points of damage. 1, 2, 3. So now it's a new round. Or now it's his turn to react. So now he is really going to start getting involved here. So as a player, I'm going to give the GM 3 dice. And I'm going to roll 5 dice for my attack. So I'm looking for 16s and 4s. So it looks like I got 5 successes. They cannot parry. So that's 4 momentum that I gained. 4. And now I'm going to start rolling damage. So I roll 5 points of damage myself. I'm going to spend 1 of those to re-roll the 3 that didn't do anything. There we go. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 points of damage. I am going to spend 1 momentum to give myself piercing 2 to ignore the armor. So I did 6 points of damage. That means it goes completely through 1. And it's going to put 1 wound on another. So I'm just going to put an X on that one. And now the remaining dice can go into the pool. So that's the end of the round. New round's going to begin, and at the end of the round, you take 1 away from the momentum. Okay. So now my character is going to attack the mob again. He is going to use 1 of the momentum to roll 3 dice, to roll an extra dice, and I'm going to give the GM 2 more doom. So 16s and 4s. Now remember, these guys cannot parry or can't do anything. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that gives me 5 momentum now. I'm going to roll my damage. I'm going to spend 1 of those to re-roll 1 dice. Okay, nothing. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 points of damage total. I'm going to spend 1 to give piercing 2. 4 is done on this one. And I got 2 more. And so 2 more damage goes on this guy over here. Now, I got some momentum here. Now, I can do a swift action. A swift action a character gains additional standard action for 2, but difficulty is increased by 1. So I'm going to spend 2 of these, and I'm going to spend those, and I'm going to attack again. I am going to only roll 2 dice. Sixteens and 4s. Okay, so I got a success, but also got a complication as well. So he's going to make a difficulty 1. Oh, because of that, I'm just going to take the 2 doom. That's what I'm going to do. Make it easy. But he did get a success with no momentum, so now he's going to roll his dice. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage. I'm going to spend 1 of those to give piercing 2. So 6 damage is going to go through. So 4 is on that one, and 2 is on this one. So as you can see, I'm cutting down through the mobs and the minions pretty quick. Now when they attack, they will only get to attack with 2 dice when they originally started with 5. But let's change it up a bit. Let's give this a squad leader. Alright, so let me get some. So now I'm going to attack with a toughen character. Toughen characters are a little bit stronger. They can use momentum and doom. They can make reactions, and they have 2 wounds. So a squad leader by itself, a little bit stronger, but still not that tough. So let me get to a toughened character. There we go, right there. So as a toughened character, it gets to roll 2 dice now, as opposed to always just 1. What's he armed with? Alright, so my character is now armed. I'm going to say that he is armed with his broadsword still. He has reach 2. This is a guard, a toughened guard sergeant. That's what his stats are going to be. And he is armed with a spear. And he is also going to be armed with a shield. So let's say this is the start of a new round. This is the doom that's in the pile, and just for giggles, let's assume that it starts with 2 momentum into the pool. As the GM, I'm going to determine that I want to go first. So the toughened character is going to go first. So I'm going to pay a doom to do that. He's going to take a minor action to move into combat with my character. And the guard sergeant is now going to attack. So the guard's combat is going to be 10 and 1 as before. Because he has a reach 3 and a shield, I have a reach 2. Doesn't really do anything for me. So he is going to attack. I am going to spend a doom to roll just an extra dice. So this time he rolls 2 dice as base with an extra third. So 10s and 1s I'm looking for. So I got 1 success. So he's going to parry. It's free for him for his first attack or first parried reaction, so he doesn't have to do anything. So he is just going to roll 2, and I am looking for 13 and 3. Oh, sorry, I was just going to roll 2, so let me forget that. There we go. So 13s and 3s, and I rolled an 18 and a 20, so I got a complication. And I got a complication, and he hit. So let's roll his hit location and his shield. Or sorry, his spear is 5 dice with piercing. Wow. Okay, so he actually got 6 points of damage with piercing 2, and it hits him where it doesn't really matter because it's going to ignore all his armor anyway. Yes, I got 6 points of damage. So ignores all his armor. 6 points of vigor goes through. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's also going to take a wound. Wow, not doing too good for him. Oh, wrong one. There we go. He's got a wound. So I got 2 momentum left over. What am I going to do? Because he's a toughened character, he's going to react again. So he's going to spend his 2 momentum to attack again. He is going to try and parry. So he's just going to roll 2 dice. So 10s and 1s. I got 2 more successes. As a second attack, a second action in a round, is a swift action, which means it's difficulty 2. So he's got 2 successes. So he hit with no momentum. Now he's got a parry. Now it's 13 and 3. Difficulty 1, but he's wounded, which means it's difficulty 2. Because this is his second reaction, it's going to cost him a doom to do so. And I'm just going to roll 2 dice. 13 and 3. And I got 3 successes. It gives me 1 momentum, which means I actually win. I'm going to take that for now. And yeah, so second attack, nothing happened. Hey, Jolly. Yeah, it does, Jowsum. I'm glad you can drop by. I'm just, I'm getting used to it. It has a lot of potential if you really want to get into it. It's pretty cool. Have you ever seen 2D20 actually run? It's a great system. I'm really getting into it. So anyway, what I'm going to do, now he has 1 wound. The toughened character acted first, so now this character is going to act. And right off the get-go, I'm going to spend his momentum. Throw all that into there. And I am going to roll 5 dice. Now he was going to parry, which means it's going to cost him 1 to do it. Whoa. And he's only going to roll 2 dice. So he's got 1 success. On mine, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which means it gives me 4 momentum, which is a hit. So I take 4 of these babies right here. I'm going to roll my dice. Oh, wrong ones. I'm going to spend 1 of those momentum to re-roll the 2 of those that didn't do anything. Didn't do anything again. So I only did 1, 2, 3 points of damage. I'm going to spend 1 to give myself piercing 2. I'm going to spend 2 of these momentum I just gained to give myself 1 point of vigor damage each, which brings it up to 5, which is enough to put a wound onto him. And that would be the end of the round. So now the next round will begin. This time the player character is going to go first. The GM is not going to spend any doom to go first. He's still wounded, which means everything is difficulty 2 for him. I am going to give the GM 2 doom to roll 4 dice total. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and another momentum. Oh my goodness. Another, complication. I'll just take 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He is going to try to parry. He is going to spend 2 doom to roll 4 dice. I'm looking for 10s and 1s. So he has difficulty 1, and he's got 2 momentum, which actually he actually succeeds. Wow, this isn't really not working at all that well for my player character. I'm going to try something a little different, try to restart this. Let me reset this whole thing. So the way this game works is that to roll against a skill, let's look at up in agility, let's look at acrobatics first. His total number, his to hit number is 13. If I roll a d20 and get lower than the 13, then that is 1 success. If the focus number is rolled, which is on this one a 1, if I was to roll 1 dice and got a 1 or less, that counts as 2 successes. So the more dice I roll, the more potential I have in getting successes and getting less than my target number. That's the essential of it right there. So if we scroll down to our melee, which is 16, and I have a focus number of 4. If I roll a dice, if I get a 16 or less, I get 1 success. If any of those dice are 4 or less, I get an additional success per dice. So in this case, I'm going to roll. Everybody rolls 2 dice. I'm going to roll, and I got 2 successes. All right. If I was to roll it again, let's see if I get a 4 or less. Oh, still got 2 successes, so it's a pretty high number. There you go. So that's a 3. That gives me 3 successes. So if I ever wanted to roll more dice as a player character, I have the option of either A, spending momentum if I have momentum that's in the pool. But if I don't have momentum in the pool, I can always use Doom. Now, Doom is something that's a little bit more important that you need to know about, because Doom is what powers the GM to do things, good and bad. So be warned, if a lot of people in this game complain that all the players do is buy this Doom, they always roll max dice, and they wipe everything out. That's one of the biggest issues with this whole system. That's what people say. The thing is that if a player is freely given the GM Doom, they need to understand that there will be consequences, and they should try to use other items first, like resources and so forth. But in this case here, this player character is base rolling 2 dice. He is going to say, no, I am going to spend 2 momentum, and I'm going to roll 2 extra dice. So that's a total of 4. Roll it up. And that gives me 4 successes. Pretty simple. Now let's come on to let's take it back now a step. That's a player character. The basics there. With a minion, minions are really weak unless they come in groups and led by a squad leader. Minions only ever roll 1 dice and they can't react. Okay, which means they can't parry. So for them, if I want to find out their particular stats, I will look at their agility, which is what's for combat, and they have a combat focus of 1. So you add the 2 together, that's a 10, and that field of expertise is their focus number. So here I rolled the dice 10 and 1. So anything less than a 10 is a success. 1 or less is an extra success. Sounds pretty simple. So that's a minion. Now, a toughened character is a little bit more powerful. In the fact is they can use Doom and Momentum like a player character can. They can also take 2 wounds, and they have higher vigor and resolve. So now let's talk about how the target numbers work, which means contest of skills. If there's never a contest, if there's never 2 opposing rolls, it's just considered a difficulty modifier. You got to try to beat the difficulty. It's pretty simple. But when 2 skills are fighting back and forth, you need to know pretty much how to do that. So everything is usually defaulted to a difficulty 1. Alright, so everything's based on a difficulty 1. If I was attacking this character here, I'm going to roll 2d20. Everything's based on a difficulty 1, which means I got 2 successes. I got a 4 and a 10. I only needed 1 roll to succeed to match the number, which is what I needed to do, and I actually got an additional number. So I have a hit with 1 success, or a hit with 1 momentum. That's the way I usually say it in a game. So I got a hit with 1 momentum. Now let's just say this toughened character is going to defend, and he's wounded, for example. A wound automatically makes every roll a little bit more difficult. So his base roll is going to be a difficulty 2. And in this case, he's going to roll 5 dice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he's getting 10s and 1s. So he's got 2 successes. Alright. He's got a hit, but he's got no momentum. So my player character, he had a hit with 1 momentum, and the defender, he had a hit with no momentum. The way it works, the person who has the most momentum is successful. So in this particular case, the player character struck the NPC. So it's not about, it's getting the most momentum out of a roll, and if you can, to beat someone. So if I had a difficulty 5 and I rolled 6 successes. That's a hit with only 1 momentum. So you got to gauge that into how everything is going to affect you. The next thing I want to talk about is, well, we already kind of went through how a mob works, or sorry, a minion works. Very, very minor. They're very weak. And for each minion in a mob, which is a maximum of 5 characters, they always roll 1 dice each. Everything else is the same. They still can't react. They move as 1. They can't do anything different. For these guys, where these guys are guards, all right, they have a combat modifier of 1. Agility is 9, so 10 and 1. So these guys here would need to roll 5 dice and looking for 10s and 1s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, that's a fairly good hit. So he would actually had a hit with 4 momentum. Again, minions are pretty tough, or pretty weak. But let's add a squad leader to this. Now, a squad leader kind of changes things up, and this is where they become very powerful, and if players don't really pay attention to what the GM is doing, they can really find themselves in some hot water. In this particular case, the squad leader, right, he gets to act and roll as normal, which means he rolls a base of 2 dice. He can use momentum and doom to add to his rolls, plus he gets help from his mob. So here is what a lot of people don't understand. A squad leader by itself, or a toughened character by itself, would always roll 2 dice. He's looking for 10s and 1s. He's got himself a 7 and an 18, so he's got 1 success. Doesn't seem like that much. He can spend doom to roll 5 dice if he wanted to. So here he's got only 2 successes. Still doesn't really add up all that much. But last going off, when he's in a squad, the other characters also add a dice each. All right, so that goes from 5 up to 9 dice if he so chooses. 1, 2. So I'm looking for 10s and 1s. And right there, I only got 3 successes. But you can see the potential here. If they have a higher number or higher skill number, or they actually roll the successes, the momentum generated is going to be really hard to beat. All right. So let me just play it through this way. This squad is going to attack first. He's going to do exactly that. He's going to spend 3 doom to roll 3 extra dice. So he's going to roll his 5 dice. He's looking for 10s and 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he got 4 successes already. Well, he's got a hit with 3. These other 4 are going to add their help, so they roll 4 extra dice. And I got 4 successes. One of them is a 1, so that's 5. So that's a hit total, works out to be a total of a hit with 8 successes. All right, 8 momentum. Now my player is obviously going to try and defend. So he's going to roll as many dice as he can. For in this case, there's 2 already in the momentum jar. So he's going to spend 2 of those. He's going to give the GM a doom to roll 3 dice. And he's looking for 13s and 3s. See, he's only rolling 5 dice. He's in a lot of trouble. And I only got 2 successes, which works out to be a hit with 1 momentum. So overall, that NPC attacks with 7 momentum because my momentum subtracts from his. And he can do a lot of damage here if he really wanted to. So a lot of people don't understand that. Squads with toughened characters can really add up. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, that's it for me. I was just messing around here, just doing some practicing with the rules. All right, for everyone that's around, thanks for watching. Thanks for dropping in. And we will talk to you guys later. We're playing tomorrow night, by the way. It's a lot easier to watch play as opposed to trying to explain it, because there's a lot of rules. There is a learning curve to this game, but if you do get to learn it, if you do take the time to figure out the rules, it's a great game to play. It really, truly is. All right, guys. Oh, is there any questions, first of all? Thanks. I'm just going to call you Lind without taking too many chances there. But if anyone got any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat. So this is what I've been working on in my tabletop simulator table here, by the way. So I got just some basic counters. I got my Doom, I got Momentum. But yeah, for those who don't use Tabletop Simulator, I'm telling you, it's worth the $20 Canadian. $20 Canadian. So if you're in the US, what's that, 25 cents to buy? And it gives you so many options. My games are open. All you got to do is just usually send me a message on Twitter or something like that, and I'll give you the contact information. Usually got about 4 to 5 players playing every weekend. So if you're interested, send me a direct message on Twitter if you want. I think the link is below. Yeah. It's a great game, I'm telling you. Like, I was big on a lot of different systems before, but since I got in on the Kickstarter on this system, so when it originally came out, what, 2-3 years ago, pretty much stopped every other system, and I've been focusing on the Conan. I love it, absolutely love it. It's great. I love writing adventures for it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, our next game is going to be tomorrow evening. So I can you send me a direct message or something, I might be able to work you out and get you into the game if you're interested. Other than that, you take care. Everyone, thanks for watching, and feel free to drop by and send me a message anytime. Thank you.